I'd like to call the March 2nd, 2023 Park Board meeting to order at 6:04 p.m. We will start with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Hope, go ahead with the roll call, please.
Okay, Mr. Markwart?
Present.
Mr. Rodriguez is absent. Ms. Miller? Present. Mr. Holstein?
Present?
Ms. Sheehan? Present. Mr. Salatas?
Present.
Ms. Sandberg? Present. Mr. Ashton?
Present.
I'm present. The record will reflect that Mr. Miller and Mr. Sharp are here also.
Okay. Before we start, I'd like to amend the agenda under new business item number 4. I'd like to add discussion to approve adding criminal background checks to all Parks and Rec volunteers and staff to be ratified at a later meeting. So if we could have the record reflect that, please, that would be great.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I mean, if you didn't do it that way, you'd have to introduce it under new business, and then it wouldn't be able to be ratified till later, correct?
I'm not following you, sir.
I think it's all good, right?
Yeah, it's all good.
He's
The reason why I think you're bringing it up is so you can speed it along.
Yes, so we don't have to wait another meeting. Yep.
Right.
Yes, sir, sorry. I'm recovering from a cold, my head's not all there, okay? All right, so item number 1, we have a presentation, Ladies Auxiliary of the Fraternal Order of Eagles, a garden project, with Miss Vicki Tiberi.
Yeah.
Come on up.
Oh my God, I'm so nervous.
Oh, don't be nervous. No, you have a fun one, we're good.
Can't help it. And this is very basic.
Okay.
Well, I guess, hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I'm pretty loud anyway, so, no, this is just kind of a basic, first presentation, I guess you could say.
Sure.
And forgive me, but hello to all the board members. First, I need to tell you a bit about myself, okay? My name is Vicki Tiberi. I am new to the area, although my mom has lived here for about 11 years. I have come here plenty of times for the farmer's market, which I mean, God, who doesn't love it? I have a passion for gardening. I am no expert, but I did grow up around many small farmers as well as horses in Illinois. I loved helping these families with planting and weeding and harvesting and as much as I could. Another thing I was involved in was writing grants for communities in in Cook County. I believe this will be a help with the many tasks that are required to help in this endeavor, which is basically what I'm looking to do is a community garden. I also feel it is important to volunteer and give back to the communities. So a great way to give back for me is to organize, big time, and work on as much as I can a community garden. Between inflation and the food shortages and all that stuff, I believe we probably should try and be as self-sufficient as possible as a community. I also believe that there are plenty of people that can't afford or just don't have maybe the right conditions to grow healthy fruits and vegetables, you know, not enough land or whatever. Okay, well, here comes my pitch, so to speak. since I have a ton of ideas on how this can be done, and I tend to think outside the box a little bit, I feel we could grow a successful garden, maintain it, and regulate it so that the people who need this are benefiting. The Fraternal Order of Eagles, 2529, and I'll just call them FOE from now on.
Sure.
We've been talking about donating to this cause. Excuse me, I'm sorry. We're in the beginning stages of this project, so we don't have a, concrete dollar amount set yet, nor do we know precisely how this will work. It's kind of like a work in progress. These details will depend on many things. One of them being you, the board, how you would like to proceed. Something I need to tell you about is that we have a great guy. He's back there. He's the one who was, Ralph.
Hi, Ralph.
He's a member at the Eagles also. And he's really knowledgeable about soil conditions, farming, and the like. He also has many of the tools necessary to produce a healthy garden. Okay, I'm going to lay out some of my thoughts, very few, but on the matter. Although nothing is set in stone, I'm sorry, I'm so nervous.
You know what, can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
If it's easier for you just to talk and not read your script, just talk.
Well,
Hear ya?
I mean, okay, well,
Seriously, just
yeah,
on
kind of, in a way, well, I've kind of, okay, I'll try.
do what's more natural. We're very informal here.
Well, I kind of would like to, because this
Sure.
has my idea.
But don't be nervous, this is fine. I want to hear what you have to say.
Anyway, since this is a work in progress, any suggestions or questions are always welcome. Okay, I numbered them, but, first of all, would we be planting raised beds, tilling soil, or both? That would be a question I would have, I guess, for you guys. We would like fencing, of course, of some kind, to keep pesky critters, possibly people, from disturbing our garden. Mostly critters, of course, but, of course, we would like to make this all as aesthetically pleasing as we can, so it looks good, Volunteers will be essential. I've been actively trying to get this, but, they'll be essential for this to succeed. Mostly to help in the planting, weeding, watering, and some harvesting, depending on how it goes. This would also depend on weather, of course, as to our daily routine. If we get too much rain, or if we get too little rain, so to speak. Of course, we would like to promote the FOE, the Park District, and possibly others being involved with this project. I am considering contacting some local businesses. I already have some leads to see if they would like to donate any materials or money or whatever to help this make it a success. I feel this is basically a win for everyone involved, not only the FOE, you guys, anyone else involved, but most of all, the local community. So far, I have received some really great support from the Eagles. And I am sorry, I realize that I am long-winded, and when I am passionate about something that I apologize for that, but if you only knew the ideas, the possibilities floating around in my head, you'd know this is only half of what I could speak about. I'm going to finish with two last thoughts. This just came to me, but I would ask that you keep in mind that time is of the essence. since, planting season is pretty much upon us quicker, you know, it's gonna be upon us quicker than we think. And also, now I lost my train of thought, thank you. Yeah.
Well, the floor is
I'll
yours. You
just end
can
with that.
filibuster till you figure it out.
No, it's okay. I have little cards that I just put like
Sure.
my number and my name on and
Yeah.
stuff in case you guys wanted to contact me, ask me questions, whatever, cause I plan to do kind of like this will happen first, this
Sure.
will happen,
You wanna put together a
and, you
timeline.
know, yeah.
Sure.
But, I mean, we have to wait for you guys to say yes or no and all that fun stuff, so, yeah, but I think that was about it. Thanks for your time, consideration.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
So-
Any questions?
So I do have some immediate questions. Greg
Sure.
has some questions.
Sure.
Have you given thought in your mind to a location?
I have not, I don't know, I mean, I kind
What's
of was
available?
hoping that would be a thing we would work, go ahead,
Well,
that's Ralph.
I did.
Yeah, no, I heard, Ralph, you said what's available, right?
Yeah, you guys are gonna be the people that are gonna be making the calls, we can't put it just anywhere on any property that you have.
Sure, so my preliminary thought with this is I love the idea. I love the idea of a community garden, a lot of communities do it. And I think for the right reasons, I think that it has a lot of value. We had toyed with an idea of like take a plant, leave a plant. Like when people, and I use my mom's hostas as a generic example. For whatever reason, my mom's hostas multiply like rabbits.
Yeah,
And she always is looking to get rid of them. So like, we were like, well, that's a great example of a reason to do that. The question is do the hostas sit in the wooden box for the take a plant, leave a plant until they rot because no one takes care of them? So
right.
obviously, we would need to know, you know, maintenance, and that type of stuff, but I like the idea, and go ahead.
Well, no, it would be, I would have to organize, like I said, I'm looking for people, obviously.
Yeah.
And then I would have to set up some kind of a, like, okay, on Thursday, this person is gonna come in and possibly weed, or water, or whatever.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And I'm pretty good at organizing it.
Sure.
It's gonna be more of like a vegetable slash, you know, maybe a watermelon, a squash,
Sure.
you know, that kind of a thing. Just to kind of help the community, like I said, people who, cause the economy sucks, sorry, but it sucks.
You can say sucks.
Well, and there are a lot of people that can't afford to eat, you know,
Sure.
healthy.
No, I agree.
And, so I think that that's kind of where I'm headed more, and the people that actually volunteer.
No, and I
How
understand
to do it.
you're talking about fruit and vegetables. I'm using my mom's hostas as just an
Okay,
example.
okay.
Let's interchange the word to rutabagas. I don't want 50 dead rutabagas sitting in the ground, you know, like,
Yeah,
you know, but I think Greg, go ahead with your questions.
I don't think really, they're just, how big of an area do you think you would want? I mean,
that's up to you. I mean, I don't think we want to start out too big too quick, because it would be the first year, so you kind of want to, you know, test the waters. That's my opinion. I don't know what Ralph thinks.
50 by 100.
okay.
Okay?
Okay, Chris, go ahead.
I know several of the board members here have individually spoken to me about this topic, and I myself am a avid gardener. I've got about 400 square foot of raised garden beds in my own backyard. I would absolutely love to undertake this, in St. John, where I was at previously, had one as well. I think we should probably I know we plan on going through a comprehensive undertaking of the parks themselves. I think we absolutely need to identify a parcel of land that we would be suitable for this, both land, availability of that. Water availability is a difficult issue for our community as well. And it's gonna take some time because it should be fenced in to stop those critters from coming and eating people's products.
Should it be?
Should be.
Oh,
should
okay,
be.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Which would take,
I'm just saying.
I've had my battles with rabbits and, it's not.
And deer, and,
Yeah.
yeah.
I absolutely love the idea myself.
I think unfortunately we may have missed this growing season because we do
I don't
need
think-
to identify that piece of land, especially that has water availability or the need to then drill water potentially. Fencing contractors would also need to be gotten, into account as well. I don't think it's impossible, but I do think we need to make sure that we're putting it in the location that it would preferably stay for a long time. And I'm not sure exactly if we know what we want to do at every one of our parks yet. Just a couple ideas that flow off the top of my head.
I don't think we missed it because a lot of things you start indoors anyway, like at the end of March, which I planned on doing anyways, so if you guys don't take them, I'm gonna end up
Well,
throwing.
I think for what Chris is talking about, we probably missed the window for this year, something permanent and with a permanent fence and water there, ready to go. I mean, if, it's possible, maybe start a few raised beds, if we can locate a spot just for temporary this year to see if people take an interest maybe, but for what you're talking about, yeah.
Cause Mr. Berry, I love the idea, I truly do, and if we identify the proper location as one that doesn't have water, I would be willing to look at funding mechanisms to put a well in so that we have water, so that this can be,
A real community.
it's not even that, but like, if we're gonna do something, I've made the comment multiple times in meetings and as a park board, like, if we're gonna do it, I wanna do it right.
Oh, yeah.
I don't wanna start this, I have had to experience having ideas and realizing that dealing in municipal government, they don't happen today. Like, they don't happen tomorrow, they don't happen next week. So I love this idea, and what I would like to do is take your information and maybe, we'll figure out a date and time where myself and Hope and a board member and whoever can sit down and we can put together a timeline and wishes and, as we're evolving as a park board and as a parks department, we can identify that perfect parcel of land and make this whatever you want it to be. I want to do it right now,
Right.
but that's not how government works, and I'm learning this,
I know that.
But what I'm telling you is I love the idea. I want to have conversations with you. I'd like to have a meeting with you. I'll buy you a cup of coffee. Let's talk about what this can look like, how it can look, where it can be, and all those other logistics. And maybe we start working through this year of those proper steps so that next year we're not pressured for time and that we're ready to go. I mean, I understand the urgency.
Yeah.
I understand the urgency.
With the way
Money's
things
tight
are
with a
right
lot
now.
of people and,
Well, and
you know.
the way they're talking, like, with fertilizer and everything else,
Mhm.
we're not really feeling it yet as bad as we're going to feel it. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, the upside is we do have a great food pantry in town, through the Methodist Church. The township trustees have one.
It's all canned goods.
I'm totally with you. I know where you're trying to go with this. You want fruit, vegetables, whatever, and you want it now, and I'm with you. And the Eagles were great partners with us earlier in the year. I would love to support something that the Eagles is putting forward. They made a generous donation to us of $5,000 when we needed it the most, when we were trying to build this department up without a budget, essentially. I'm all ears. I want to have more conversation with you, but listening to what Chris has to say and Ms. Sheehan has to say and what I've learned in this short time of being on the park board is we can work towards this, but it won't be done this year, at least in my opinion, listening to the experts in the room.
Is there any, possibility, I guess, of temporary kind of a setup? And that may be the optimal, actually, if you think about it, because it is the first year, and you don't know how it's gonna go, you know what I mean? If you get a temporary, maybe we don't rototill land, maybe we don't have an exact, big parcel or whatever, but we do some raised gardens or whatever. I mean, that would be more temporary, because you can always move it, you know what I mean?
No, I understand. This is what I'll tell you, Mr. Berry. I am saying that right? I don't want to tell you about it. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
No, you're totally right.
Why don't we try to have a meeting in 2 weeks?
Okay.
And in that 2 weeks, I can figure out maybe we can talk about a temporary location. I don't wanna squash your idea.
No.
I love great ideas, and I love the fact that you're approaching us about this, and I think that this is something that people are gonna get behind.
No.
It's just that there are legal, logistical, financial, whatever, that we have to think about, and we have, now that we have a budget, and now that we're starting to hire staff, now you're gonna start seeing us do more. And we wanna be calculated, and we wanna make sure we know what we're doing, why we're doing it, where we're doing it, et cetera. So, how about 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now, we'll sit down, and we can talk about what a temporary structure would look like. Maybe at that point, I'll have an answer as far as where we could put it. Being temporary, maybe it can be located somewhere here on property where there is water. I don't know 100% yet, but that gives us time to take your input and maybe put together a good temporary plan. And then that evolves into a permanent plan, and you can be part of that discussion. This is your idea.
Right.
We'll put a statue of you out
Not
front,
really
we'll figure something out,
A lot of people do it, so,
No, but I love it. I really love the idea, but unfortunately, you're not gonna walk out of here tonight with us saying it's happening,
Oh, I knew that.
and we only meet once a month. So, can we agree to meet in the next couple of weeks
Absolutely.
and discuss what a temporary site would look like, and we can figure out some locations?
Sure, I'm gonna plant mine anyways, you know what I mean? I'm gonna start them indoors.
Bother, see if you guys could start investigating on where you'd be a permanent site.
Oh, no, I mean, this is all part of the process, absolutely.
Yeah.
In the next 3 weeks.
Well, I don't know if in
I
3
mean, you
weeks I'll...
can't give a definite, but start looking into it.
Yeah, I'm sure, how about this? We'll start looking into it. I don't know that we're gonna have a permanent site identified in 3 weeks,
Probably. Sure.
I mean, 'cause obviously if we had to drill a well for a site, we gotta know if there's, where the water's at and what's that gonna cost and all that other stuff, so,
Well, may I, sorry to interrupt.
No, don't be sorry.
May
Go
I
ahead.
ask you, you have a butterfly thing going on, right? A butterfly garden? No?
we're exploring some gardening.
Okay.
We are exploring some
Okay.
gardening and
But
having...
I assume you have water there, wherever that may be,
Well,
no?
No.
You don't?
no,
Well,
go ahead.
the intended site is along the lake shore, so.
Okay. Oh. Okay. Well, I mean, despite the water, okay, let's just put water aside for just a second.
Wouldn't need water for water.
I know we need water, yeah, I know. Anyways,
Incorporate the two into one, that'd be an idea.
more, right, that's kind of what I was thinking, but, and butterflies are great for gardens, obviously, because they pollinate, so they help anyways.
Well, and again, it's certainly an idea, but I think part of what we're going for with the butterfly garden and the community garden, I think would be better off
Maybe separate?
separate.
Yeah.
It just scratching the surface here in my head.
Okay, well, I guess, like I said, especially since it would be the first time
Mhm.
that we're doing this, you know how that goes, first time, could work out, maybe not, you never know. I have seeds, I've got
Sure.
a bunch of stuff that I can, use, which I'm gonna plant either way.
Sure.
I just don't have I have pots and things, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, I don't really have anywhere to plant them. But a temporary spot, I think, to me anyways, would be the way to go for the first time doing it, maybe.
Sure, I don't
You know what I mean?
disagree.
Before we go dragging up dirt and
Sure.
filling and all
I
that.
don't disagree, and it wouldn't happen when we can plant. So, it wouldn't happen that fast. Nothing happens that fast.
What do you mean?
I'm saying like a
temporary?
permanent.
Oh,
I'm saying
yeah,
a
no.
permanent wouldn't happen that fast. So,
Yeah.
let's revisit this in about 2 to 3 weeks and talk about if you wanna put together what you envision a temporary site to look like and how big you want it to be and, materials and resources, how we go about going, with this. I wanna hear it. It's just a permanent one, if we were to move forward with this, wouldn't be till next year. but I love the idea. I really, really do. I'm not trying to deflate you here. I mean, 'cause like I said, I've learned fast that sometimes you have to slow down when you have new ideas when you're in municipal government. But I think it'll be for the better interest of the overall project, that if it's really well thought out, we take our time methodically and think about it, the finished product will look way better.
My head goes 100 miles an hour thinking about all that stuff.
Ma'am, I have ADHD, my brain goes like that all the time. That's my life. You and I will get along just fine. So let's have a meeting in 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
And we can kind of talk about what a temporary site looks like. We can think about it as a board, council, we can get everyone involved, and we can see what we can come up with to come up with at the very least a temporary site.
Yeah, right,
Can I
that would
add to
be, I
that?
think
Yeah,
that
go
would be
ahead.
optimal in the beginning anyways, because like I said, because, you know, it's like trial and error, especially when it's the first time. I mean, you know how that goes, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, I mean, maybe we don't get to till a bunch of land, that's fine, but maybe try out what do they say about trying out your wings or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Test the waters.
Test
Sure,
the
I'm with
waters,
you.
whatever, just a little bit, and.
Crawl before you walk, I'm with you.
And just try it out for a little bit, and then see how it works, and see how much interest we get.
Sure.
That would be a big thing, you know.
Well, and that would be a responsible thing too, because if we were to dump $40,000 into a well fence, digging a hole, planting all this, and we end up with a bunch of rotted plants,
Right.
because it doesn't get taken care of and everything else, that's not responsible either.
But that's why we have Ralph.
Ralph,
Ralph has, do you know him?
nope,
So you
but I'm gonna get to know
well,
this
you
guy.
should- you should-
I mean, he's got an amazing beard and mustache, I wanna know him just because of that.
No, he knows a lot about the soil conditions. I mean, he's got, you have,
I was a master gardener at one time, but I let my certs go,
Well,
years ago.
yeah, well, pieces of paper,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
but he
You got-
still
you got
has
the
it in
skills.
his head, so, he knows a lot, so.
Absolutely, no, like I said, this isn't, the door's not closing on you, it's just we need to have more discussion and kind of plan this out. But I love the idea, I'd love to have more conversation, give me the card, give all of us the card.
I know, they're only just written out, 'cause like at the last minute, I'm
That's
like,
okay.
"Oh,
That's
crap,
all right."
I need to write my name and all that.
That's okay.
Wrote them all.
Pass it out, and we'll be in touch.
Okay, I will, thank you.
You're welcome,
Appreciate
thank you. Appreciate you coming and talking to us tonight.
Thanks, guys. I'm gonna do that now, so that
It's the perfect opportunity.
and it's literally, like, written out really cruddy, but,
It's okay, we'll find you somehow.
At the last minute, I did it 10 minutes before I left.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Nope, we're good, I got you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
We're fine,
Ah, hard bucket.
Thank you.
And then you guys can copy.
Take a picture.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, thank you. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Item number 1 is the minutes of the 2023 meeting, from February. What's the pleasure of the board?
I give a motion to approve the minutes from the February meeting.
Yes, I'll second that.
If I can,
Oh,
the way we have the consent agenda on there is so that you can read all
Ah,
of
yes.
those items under there, and then you can make one motion
Oh.
accepting the
Yes, that's
consent
right.
agenda.
Forgive me, we were doing baby steps last year. All right, so we have consent agenda, item number 1, February 2nd, 2023 meetings. Claims, Jennifer, would you like to read those real quick?
So we have the Parks and Recreation, Department 6, which is part of the general fund, $66,406.67. Park Impact Fee Fund, $7,518.75. Parks and Rec Non-Reverting Fund, $734. Clubhouse Non-Reverting Fund, $3,168.16 for total expenditures of $77,827.58.
Okay, and the bulk of that was the pickup truck that we have since received, so,
Yes, one of, the vehicles that you previously.
okay. And then item number 3 on the consent agenda, we have, spring soccer sponsorships and kind donations in the amount of $150 each, for Coop's Car Correction, Banter Floors, and Blue Fox Fitness. what's the board's pleasure for the consent agenda, please?
I'll give a motion to approve.
Okay,
And I'll second that motion.
okay. Hope?
Mr. Markwart?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Holsey?
Yes. Okay, item number 1 under old business, consider approval of the purchase of audio-visual equipment for the clubhouse. I know that speaking with Sarah, I haven't had a chance to speak to Greg, we're still kind of stalled on that, in the sense of the larger package that Cliff had proposed. Sarah, did you want to talk about your visit to St. John and their setup and kind of what we looked at and where we're still kind of debating this?
Yeah, so I was given the grand tour and I got to see how they use projectors. Of course, our clubhouse has a lot of windows, so that wouldn't be a good option for us. And then also their TV monitors and how you can get mounts that allow it to swivel out, and the master control. And all of it looked great. But like you said, I still think we need to hold off until we have a bigger game plan for the use of it. However, he did provide us with a mobile microphone option for the current uses of the clubhouse, so that the speakers can be heard better.
So essentially, what we're looking to do tonight, there are 2 prices. You know what, I didn't actually get a look at the second one. Trying to look right now. So essentially what we're trying to achieve is deliver better sound for our people. And in discussion with Cliff and Sarah, the microphone with the lectern at this point might be just a nice, easy fix for that. So that, and Cliff, you're up there, right? Does that All right, there we go. You said both of these would come with a wired and wireless mic, correct?
They're both the same item.
Right, it's just different pricing.
Better pictures of it.
Okay,
And it does come with wired mic. Wireless is an option.
okay, do we have the additional cost for the wireless?
I think it was 140, if I remember right.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Cliff.
Second quote on here.
Oh, there we go. That's what it,
$1,400 or $1,048.
okay. Myself, I like the wireless mic, but that's also because I can't stand still. So this at least gives people the ability to walk around the room and talk to people and not be stuck to a wire. So I think that this would solve the short-term problem until we figure out what the bigger picture looks like with the clubhouse. So, what is the board's pleasure on this?
I would agree with the wireless, because they might not want to have to roll the thing around. And it's not a huge difference.
Okay, so I guess what I'm looking for, I'd be looking for a motion for, Cliff, is this price solid, or is there a chance it fluctuates?
We could get it for 900. That's included a little bit more for shipping than what they're estimating.
Okay, so we could get the wireless with the lectern for 900?
No, I'm sorry, that's not including wireless. If you're gonna do a wireless option, add 150, just to be safe, but we'll be under that.
Okay, all right.
Perhaps a not to exceed amount of $1,100 or
Yeah,
$1,200.
I'm gonna say, okay, so if just to cover shipping and whatever, I'd like to solicit a motion for not to exceed up to $1,200 for the Oklahoma Sound Greystone lectern with sound and wireless tie clip, and the wireless microphone that comes with that as well.
I'll give a motion not to exceed $1,200 on that microphone.
Okay, Can I get a second?
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. Hope?
Okay, Mr. Markwart?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Holste?
Yes. Okay, item number 2, approve the proposal of soccer equipment from Amazon in the amount of $650. Hope, what do you got?
So I would like to order some first aid kits, some clipboards, some whistles for the coaches, and then some goalie gloves. And then also I have on here, spray paint to spray paint the lines. We do have a box in the concession stand, but I'm not sure how good it is being out in the weather, and it's at least 3 years old. And then if it is good, we can just keep this.
Yeah, it's not gonna be a bad idea to have a supply of it.
Yeah. And then we also might, we're gonna need just a few more size 4 balls, so that's included in that, and then, 6 of the ball bags. We do have some in the pool house, but we'll need just a few more
Okay,
for the coaches to be able to load the balls now.
okay. And you feel like this is gonna put you in a better spot? We're getting close to having everything we need, right?
Yes.
Okay. What's the board's pleasure?
Make a motion to approve the equipment.
Okay, I have a motion from Greg,
I'll second that.
a second from Sarah. Hope?
Okay, Mr. Markwart?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Holste?
Yes. Okay. Item number 3, approval to obtain quotes for purchase of soccer T-shirts and proceed with the ordering from the lowest and most responsive submission in an amount not to exceed $2,200. Hope, did you, as of this moment, have you received anything?
I got a quote at like $453, so that's why it's not on here. I got one of the 3 quotes, and the one quote I got was $20 a shirt. So I have 2 more quotes that are coming, but I thought that was pretty high.
How many kids do we have enrolled?
We have 143 kids.
Woo!
And, and then we also have 18 coaches.
That includes the assistant coaches?
That includes assistant coaches, yeah.
So we would probably,
That's over $3,000.
Yeah, that's-
Yeah, that, like I said, that was the first quote that I got. So of course this 2,200 was a guesstimate before I got the quote.
who are the other companies?
The other companies
Or who are, I mean, well, not necessarily who are the other companies, but like, when did you request them and like,
this week,
okay,
yeah.
okay. Okay. Well, we're gonna need more than 2,200 if that's the only one that comes in. And have you reached out to local shops?
Yeah, there is one of the companies is a local shop.
Okay. And they were requested this week too with no response?
They, the one guy I talked to, one of the ones that I'm waiting on, I've been back and forth with them all week with emails, and the one guy called this afternoon, the one that I'm waiting for, that's a local one, and he said he'll have something for me tomorrow morning.
Based off your research, do you feel like 20 a shirt's gonna be the highest you're gonna see?
I think that'll be the highest. Based on my research, these slides that I got, this is from Foreign Print, and these ones are $10 a shirt. And these have not as much, the lettering on it. It doesn't have the numbers, and it doesn't have the sponsor's name. So the sponsor's name is what costs a little bit more, but I don't think it should be much more than 15 a shirt, but I'm not sure. I was shocked when I got that one.
Well, it is time sensitive, and delaying this to another meeting only sets back our program with printing time and everything else. I mean, do we know estimated turnaround from order?
No, they haven't given me
Okay.
that.
I don't wanna put us in a position where we're waiting on shirts. Like I said, if we do this, I wanna do this right. So I'm wondering if we go at 20, approve up to 20 a shirt at whatever the amount of shirts we need. And we'll do a little buffer just in case we get a, you know, just so we have that flexibility. And obviously if Hope gets a response back that's less than 20 a shirt and meets all the requirements, that's a bonus, then that's money we're not spending.
Yeah.
Greg, your thoughts?
Get the t-shirts.
Okay, so can I get that in the form of a motion, a dollar amount? We're gonna need more than 2,200, Greg.
Well, it's gonna be 3,000,
This is at 20.
So 3,220 is
Without shipping.
if we're precise, and that's without shipping. And we're hoping to come under that,
yes,
so
35.
Do you have estimated shipping for that amount of shirts?
No, she just gave me $20 a shirt. It wasn't a form of an invoice or anything like that.
well. Okay, so you said four, oh, you know what, so you said 4 Imprint, and who else did you reach out to?
Bad Bass.
Did you? I'm drawing a blank. Legacy, did you reach out to Legacy in Crown Point?
I reached out to them, before I started this, but I can contact them again.
I'd like to see, because I'm trying to think of another one, there's Legacy in Crown Point.
There's a place in
Pro-Am.
Dyer on Route 30, I can't remember the name of it.
A lot of the schools for their stuff use Pro-Am.
That's where I got that one from. And they were
Yeah.
high.
Yeah, Crown Point Printing.
Yeah.
There's another one I'm thinking of, because we bounce between two at the fire department, and it's Legacy, and I can't think of the other name.
Blaze Team Sports in, Valverde.
It's not the one I'm thinking of, but it's another one. So let's make this beneficial here. Let's make this so we can try to move forward. Hope, if we can get you to hit a couple more local places. Obviously, I want to keep this local if we can. I don't know of one in town.
Hometown Apparel is in Dyer, and I know they do the t-shirts
Okay.
and all that.
So why don't we, let us assume worst case scenario that it's $20 a shirt, and that shipping is some absurd amount of money, but know that that's realistically not gonna be the case. And let's, because I don't wanna do 3,500 and then shipping's $300 and we're, you know, over that motion or whatever. So I'm gonna make the suggestion, can I solicit a motion for not to exceed 4,000 with the lowest bidder that can deliver on time?
Okay,
I'll give a motion for not to exceed
4,000.
4,000, but going with the lowest bidder and the
Oh.
best time frame.
and I'll second that.
Okay. And then, like I said, Hope, if you can hit up a few more of the local shops,
Yeah, we don't
You
spend
know,
that much.
you know, and if it works out to 15 a shirt, it works out to 15 a shirt, but
Yeah,
that's
a
still,
little more like.
still $5 a shirt cheaper,
Yeah.
you know? So, okay, all right.
Okay, Mr. Markort,
Yes,
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Holstein.
Yes. Okay, item number 4 is approval of the purchase of Easter egg hunt prizes from Amazon in an amount not to exceed $35. Hope, what do you got here? I saw a chocolate bunny.
Yeah, so, just a little fun thing, we just have one golden egg winner for each age group. There's 3 age groups, so, it would be 1 bunny per, age group, so 3 of these chocolate bunnies for
Okay,
whoever finds the golden egg.
okay. Can I get a motion to buy 3 chocolate bunnies not to exceed $35?
I'll make a motion to buy 3 chocolate bunnies not to exceed $35.
This is as exciting as the porta potty. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All right.
Okay, Mr. Markort,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Wolfson?
Yes. And then I would assume once we have a superintendent, chocolate bunnies can just be purchased by
Yes.
Hope. Yeah, okay, cool. All right. All right. Item number 1 in the new business, we have approval to purchase additional trash cans from Global Industries at $6.75 a can with free shipping. Chris, if you want to talk about that?
More of the exciting stuff like porta potties.
Yes.
You would authorize the purchase of a small sample of garbage cans, which we have behind us here. We find them to be acceptable to our needs over here. There is a special going on right now that the Global Industries has that would reduce the price of essentially the free shipping. Takes a little over $7,000 off the overall cost. They have quoted us here in your packets 40 garbage cans, which would then total $27,000, which comes out to the price per can of what you see. We feel that 40 is excessive. We can order less. They will hold that price for us for approximately 30 days.
So my thought on 40, without really mapping it out, is that the more places we give people places to put trash, hopefully they will put their trash there. I think with 26 parcels?
We have, if we order 40, we will not underutilize.
That's my point. I think that, what stimulated this conversation was Chris and I saw the same rollaway garbage can on its side over at Woods of Cedar Creek, and we both agreed that there's a better permanent solution. It looks nice. It has our logo. What more could you want out of a can other than it emptying itself?
Outside of that, yeah, it's got the rain bond, so it's not filling up with water, and so trash is not blowing out of it. And in talking with Tim, we can create a mold for Public Works to use to be able to pour a concrete pad that it can then bolt to, so it cannot be stolen.
Right. I like that. I'm fine with this. It makes things look cleaner, hopefully. I think that it's standard and uniform, and I think that's always a good objective. I am not opposed to 40 garbage cans, and the fact that they will honor that price for us, and it seemed like it's an expensive purchase, but I think a well-warranted purchase. I think those will hold up well. Jennifer, I promise I'll get better about this over time, but can I get a motion for $27,000 to be used between the general fund and the park impact fees for these garbage cans?
You want to split it?
Well, we have new parks, we could use it, right? Wouldn't that be appropriate use?
In new parks, it would be.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Unless that creates a headache, but
no, I'll work with Tim because in my mind, I like to claim, so whichever ones are new parks, those ones will be paid for other park impact, and then your general fund equipment will cover the rest.
okay. So can I solicit that, I am looking to solicit a motion for $27,000 to be paid to Global Industry for 40 garbage cans to be paid out of the general fund and park impact fees. Can I get that motion?
Can I ask one question real quick? Can you order like 6 extra of those inside cans when you make that order, just so we could have something somewhere when one gets smashed or lost or?
Seems reasonable.
Seems like a hard thing. It's kind of a specialty can inside of the middle there, so.
Do we know the price?
I don't know, but it'd be smart to get a couple just to.
Maybe a not to exceed 28,000. I can't imagine it being that high, but
Just a plastic.
Okay, so I'll change my, I would change my request for a motion not to exceed 28,000 to purchase 40 cans. And then as many inserts as we can get within that wiggle room. And then if we need more, we can
Yeah, just
adjust
have
it
a few,
accordingly.
because it could be something that we can't fit in there right or whatever, I mean.
Yeah, that's fine. Can I get that motion, please?
I'll make that motion to purchase 40 trash cans for the outdoors, and how many liners do we want?
It's like six, just a few.
And 6 additional liners for those trash cans,
Not to exceed 28,000?
not to exceed 28,000.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion about the trash cans?
I'm glad we have trash cans coming.
I actually kind of agree with you.
Who's gonna empty them?
Hopefully our staff.
That'd be
Great.
great.
Mr. Markfort?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Holstein?
Yes. Okay, item number 2 is consider garden landscaping project at Parks of the Red Cedars Town Complex Lakefront, Bartlett Wahlberg Park, and North Park. Sarah, would you like to talk about it?
Sure. Let's start. So, we were given 2 quote proposals, from 2 different landscape architects, one being Burke Engineering, and, the other being JMA Architects, and they had very similar pricing, around $6,000. And I, only met with JMA, and, I was impressed with the feedback and,
Was that today you met with them?
no,
Or,
it was this week though.
okay, yeah.
They seem to know their stuff, gave some good ideas, good feedback, and, I know they have a relationship with the town or have previously, so that gives me confidence in them. And then, Redwood sent in a quote late last night. Theirs came in a bit cheaper for the design aspect, about $5,000. I don't have much detail as far as, what comes with that because they didn't meet with me. But I did look at some of the work they've done online, and it looks decent. They have good reviews. They've done hardscape and planting type jobs. And then the last one, was a gentleman who, he does design projects for Midwest Landscaping in St. John. And, I'm not sure of his exact background, but I know he currently is with Nehemiah Supply. And he flat out said, about $600 per park, but again, I didn't get to meet him, and he didn't really show me any kind of proposal of what he was thinking. He did show, like an example of a strip of plantings,
Okay.
to give an idea.
So, to me, it sounds like we have some information, but some incomplete information. Would you entertain deferring this to the next meeting so we can gather more information and put together a more comprehensive plan on that?
I wouldn't, as far as getting a design, we're at the cutoff.
Okay.
I would say my best impression was with JMA, but that's just because I got to speak personally and go over things a little bit better.
Okay, so you would, and JMA we have worked with,
Yes,
so we have an established relationship with them. And what was their price?
the proposal, was $6,000 for the initial design.
Okay.
Okay. Can I speak?
Yeah.
Okay, so they don't actually do any planting after they do the design, correct?
Correct.
Once they're done with the design, that's up to us to get somebody to actually follow up on that design.
Right,
Whatever
and
we pick.
they would help solicit for pricing for installation. I'm sure they have working relationships with
Okay,
companies.
so with this redwood, they actually do the planting also. They'll design it and then plant it. It just seems that we're taking that extra step out of us trying to figure out who's gonna do the actual work, you know? To me, it seems $6,000 before you put a plant in the ground, seems like a lot of money. But I don't know, it seems like it is the industry standard, you know?
I don't know for parks, but I mean, I definitely know when I did my backyard or anything else, that there are a lot of, ones out there that will design for you.
Right, without even
I mean, they'll come out, measure everything out, draw it up for you, and tell you what plants they're putting where, and,
Right.
and it's all included.
I know,
They're not saying just, I don't know.
that's why, it just seemed to me that,
I used
Getting a drawing done.
landscaping, and they drew it out, and there was another one in Valparaiso that was really good.
I mean, we all wanna get this done, we wanna see these plants planted and everything beautiful, but,
It just seems like a lot to draw it out.
yeah,
Because I don't believe I really paid for them to draw it out so much.
you tell them what you want and,
Then they kind of come
They
up with
design
the
it
price
and-
with the pay, you know, whether you're having pavers or stones or plants or trees, and yeah. So I don't know, that's just my
yeah,
thoughts.
I hear you on that.
Greg, you just said that Redwoods does the install. Do you know that from past experience, or
No,
am I
I don't,
missing
but
that?
that, from talking to them on the phone. So, they'll send their designer out to design it, and then he'll give designs to his people who will actually do the planting also.
They still have a large design fee. It is slightly lower.
It's $5,000. I agree. I mean, I think that all the design fees seem very high, but
We're dealing with multi-purpose issues. We're trying to do the
three
roof
different areas.
mitigation from the shore, find where we can add pollinator type gardens along with fencing, nautical theme fencing. So there's other factors
As well
too.
as gated access for pedestrians to be able to cross between the boardwalk area and the green space.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not like we're just throwing something in the ground. There's gonna be a vision to that and with a purpose and,
This kind of goes back to our previous comment with the gardens themselves. This is something that should be well thought out, well looked at, making sure that it is appropriate to everybody, in talking with several of these consultants as well. Especially in mentioning the walking path portion of cutting through the gardens and having a gate
Exactly.
there. One of them had even mentioned that the walking path, instead of being linear in a clear vision, that because of the geese, that having a diagonal path that would then have, would obstruct the geese's view of the lake itself, because of it being diagonal and having the plantings there would probably serve our purpose better. And not being a landscape architect or being a goose professional, that made sense to me. I'm like, oh wow, you learn quite a bit when you start talking with more and more of these individuals.
well, and if I understood right, and forgive me, because I'm drawing a blank on the name and his title, that gentleman we met with was at the Department of Agriculture or DNR or?
U.S.
Yeah,
Fish and Wildlife.
U.S. Fish and Wildlife.
Jared.
Now, if I remember right, I was left with the impression that Jared would help us with plants, but is that at a cost? I guess I didn't ask that when we met with him. Did we?
Plant type, yes, he did not mention any associated fee with you working with Fish and Wildlife.
I mean, he kind of left me with the impression like, I'll help you get those. Like, I didn't know what that meant though, and I regret not asking now.
I think he would steer us in the direction of a nursery that could supply us with the recommended plants that he would, native plants that he would
Yeah.
recommend for the garden. But I do not believe, because he also mentioned grant opportunities, that they would provide them. So it would just be assistance on.
Point us in the right direction.
Yeah,
Lead us to water we have to drink.
yes.
Got it.
Okay, so the next question is then, they're gonna do 3 renderings, I believe, is that correct? Of the park areas?
Yeah, one for each of the 3 parts.
Right, that's what we're gonna want, is that, and what if we don't like them? I mean, did we just throw out $66,000 on something that we don't agree with? I don't, there's so many ifs about this, I mean, you gotta think that they're professionals and yes, hire them, but I just wish we had a better scope of what we wanted to give them,
JMA, and I'm sure it's not specifically, spelled out in Burke's, but JMA does quote that up to 2 revisions are included.
And I would think 2 revisions would be
Probably
probably reasonable. I would think that, or,
I can't see us even going past 1 adjustment.
no.
I mean, you never do know, but.
No, but I think 2 is reasonable, and if we're not agreeable after 2 revisions, then we have a hidden master gardener somewhere around here that
Yeah, that's what we need right there.
knows more than well, there is one right there, he just tilted his hat. But
I know that.
if we were making a decision on this tonight, I am leaning towards JMA because we have a past history with them and they are in town. It is expensive, but what isn't? And we're trying to have professional looking.
This goes back to the community garden aspect. This will be permanent, or fairly permanent.
Yeah.
We want to get it right the first time.
Which one am I looking at? Burke. They're saying, so all told, I'm thinking 6,000 to 7,000 to get us to the finish line. Is that including plants? Or is that just,
No,
that's the
No,
design?
that's just the design.
So he's saying 6 to 7.
Yeah.
Redwood is 5, but we don't know about revisions. Because I do think this is important, especially since our geese friends are extremely dirtying of our areas, and if, with Fish and Wildlife and everyone else involved, it sounds like this is a really good strategy to mitigate it. I guess my personal opinion is with an established relationship with JMA, clearly spelled out 2 revisions, the previous relationship, and they're a company in town, I would be in favor of going forward with JMA.
Now, I would also add one more thing. JMA and, what's this other place right here, Christopher Burke, they had a lot of time to prepare this. Redbud only had a week and a half, so they didn't even have time to prepare a reasonable, proposal. It was kind of a rush thing. We needed a last minute from them. So, I just want to throw that in there, just so everybody understands that some people have more time than others to actually even bid this thing. Okay.
Hey guys, this is TJ Gordon with Chris Burke Engineering. I just wanted to add something really quick. I'd be happy to answer any of your questions regarding our end of things, but yeah, basically we just wanted to provide a raw quote to you guys on what it would take to put this together with our landscape architect team, putting together the renderings, and also doing photographs, site visits, meeting with you guys regarding revisions, and also meeting on the site, things of that nature. But yeah, no, we're willing to help in any way possible, and be happy to answer any specific questions that you had regarding that.
So, TJ, so is 2 revisions standard with Christopher Burke?
I would agree that I would be surprised if it would take any more than that, but, I think we're just throwing an estimated amount of hours on there, being conservative, and want to make sure that, we get it right, and, are willing to meet with you guys as many times as it takes, to be honest with you, to make sure that you're happy and that we're, crossing all the T's, dotting all the I's, making sure that the siding is appropriate and, drainage is being taken care of, it's aesthetically pleasing, it's, it's gonna be functional for each specific area, and, everyone's, on the same page.
The other option is Public Works can print a no goose pooping sign, and we can tie that into the.
I think that'd be nice.
That would be
Get
true,
you a
yeah.
real pretty one.
But, yeah, I guess, you know, there's definitely different ways to go about this. You know, we don't necessarily have to go the landscaping architect route. We could do something potentially a little bit more simple, but as Chris was saying, it is gonna be more permanent. You know, this would produce 3 high-level renderings that you can print on large-size paper on a poster board, and you can, you know, show people and kind of have a better visual of what it's really gonna look like. Or you could go a much more simpler route and just kind of talk about it and have more of a verbal meeting, you know, try to explain what you want to somebody that way. Definitely with something like that, if you guys feel like this is a little bit too expensive.
You have to
But
do
yeah,
all
we're just trying to provide, kind of a rough idea if you wanted to go this route, but, totally respect your decision if you decide to go a different route.
Thank you, TJ. Tim, to answer your question, I think it was discussed that it would make it, it's kind of similar to like the bathroom pavilion thing, like it might be more appealing if it's a multi-project, or, you know, 3 instead of 1 at a time, was the discussion, when we met with Jared and, Rebecca? Rebecca? That was kind of the discussion, is that if it was 3 parks, it would be more desirable for, bidding purposes.
I just blacked out. Okay, it wasn't doing that for
Magic touch.
Technology makes your life easier, they say. I mean, I am not necessarily alarmed by the price in the sense it's professionally designed and all that other stuff. I mean, I feel like that's, so far what I'm seeing is there's 2 that are 6 and 1 that's 5, and Niemeyer's was
$600 a park, which is nothing.
He's a very nice guy. There's
I mean, so we go from,
Again, he would design it, and they would also plant that.
Well, he wouldn't.
He would, but the, Redbud would.
I mean, I am kind of
Or the other
curious.
place, I can't even think.
I am kind of curious how we go from 5,000 and 6,000 to 1,800 if we're doing 3 parks from Niemeyer's. I mean, he's saying $600 a park.
Right. But
What's
again,
that?
If I may, but your quotes, JMA and Chris Burke, their engineering firm, like TJ said, they'll be using a landscape architect, whereas your other quotes are landscaping companies and.
That's their job, that's what they do.
You're gonna get a sheet of paper with pencil plants, this group of
Yeah.
flowers, this group of flowers, with the other 2, you're gonna get fancy photos.
You're gonna get
Pictures and
3D
billboards and-
renderings and all.
Yeah.
I don't know that we need all of that, but,
Bells and whistles.
yes. I mean, that's their job, they do landscaping, that's what they do.
For
Okay.
the size of this project, I also think the landscape architecture is the best route to start. And because it's multifaceted issues.
I don't disagree with using, a landscape architect, because we're dealing with terrain and design, and like, I don't wanna just be sticking the stuff in the ground. Like, and I'm not saying that Niemeyer's is just sticking stuff in the ground, but I'm just saying, like, I do want this well thought out. I just don't want, I understand it comes at a cost, I just don't want us cutting corners for the final product. I don't wanna put something in the ground and look at it and go, well, that looks bad. And I like, and it's, again, it's nothing against Niemeyer's, I use Niemeyer's religiously for stuff, but like, I am concerned that we're dealing with $1,800 versus 3 professional firms telling us 5 to 6, and I get it, like, I don't need, you know, the cardboard printouts and stuff look nice, but, you know, I ultimately, I just wanna see the final product, I don't care how it's necessary, I don't know. I am, again, firm believer in, like, if we're gonna do this, let's do this right, so it's well thought out, and we can be proud of the final product. That's where I lie.
And then once those renderings are done, and we get to look at them, basically saying there is no limit on the amount of money we could spend on that landscaping. Because if they come up with designs, they have rock pavers built up and, you know, we're gonna have to go with that. It's not like just putting a plant or a flower or a weed in the ground. Now you're doing some heavy walkways and, you know, big stuff. I mean, which is very expensive. Have you ever dealt with landscapers and?
No, I have a $26,000 quote in my inbox, and that's where it's gonna sit, so.
Right, I mean, that's just the thing, I mean, you know, you could be talking $100,000 on plants. So, I mean, it's just a thought, I want these places to be beautiful too. But, something to think about.
Did anybody talk to Hewingers over in Crown Point? I know they got landscape architects on staff. They had done some work for me when I was the director of the Boys and Girls Club, and they put in some retaining walls and that stuff. And they came out and, we'll do this, this, and this, and, you know, shot me a price. I mean, maybe,
Well,
I think there's so many directions to go.
I guess where I sit with this is it possible to speak with these firms again? And we know what type of plants we want, right? We had a rough idea from our visit with the Fish and Wildlife, right? He gave us like a list of plants he suggested, didn't he?
He gave us, a list of pollinator plants and native plants, but we don't have a package of these go well together and we're gonna put them in this bed yet. We're not there yet.
Is it possible to do this and include the cost of material? Is it possible that these companies can provide that? Do we know? Cause I mean, I do.
No, that would help.
I do hear what Greg's saying, in the sense that we approve $6,000 and then it comes down to materials and they go, hey, it's $150,000, you know, or $30,000, or whatever. I mean.
Well, we are gonna be working with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife as well as Purdue Extension to find resources for plugs and seeds and a mixture. So it's really hard to predict what plants will cost for.
It is, and I guess without a design, we don't know how much we need until we know what the space looks like.
And we're also talking about fencing and other miscellaneous. So we really need to know what we're looking at to say.
And I guess without a design, we don't know what we need. We don't know the space we're working with. We could hypothetical all we want.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess I'm looking to see what the board's pleasure is here. Is there a motion to take action, or do we need to talk about this more? Is what this boils down to.
I would like to talk about it more, even though I do want it done. I just think I'm not at that point yet where I'm gonna say, let's go ahead.
Okay. So are you putting that in a form of a motion to defer this for further discussion?
I could do that. Okay.
We'll reach out to, because there was also another fifth potential applicant or quoter as well, try to get them to refine their quote to us.
Okay, so I have another question then, before I actually do this. So if we do defer this, is there any way before the next session that we could do a vote?
Not without calling the special.
We would have to call a special meeting, so.
Well, I mean, if we had to do that, would you be willing to do that? I mean, just to get it over with?
My thought is, why don't we just do a not to exceed 6,000 vote and then do further research within this month, so that if we find like that's really our only option, that's a good option, that we can hire somebody to get the designs before our April meeting, so that we can have even the option to do install at all.
I would entertain that in the spirit of progress.
I'm gonna need clarification on that.
Okay, but we're not, yeah, exactly. But we're not actually hiring somebody right now. we're just putting it not to exceed $6,000.
And I guess actually in order to hire someone, that would have to be in a meeting, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
So no matter what, we would have to have a meeting.
Correct.
Okay. So it would be a go or a deferral then?
So, yeah, so either we need a motion to take action or a motion to defer to the next meeting.
Oh, boy, I don't wanna hold it off that long. What I'm gonna do? Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to defer the landscaping until our next meeting, or a special session, if that's possible.
And the special session is possible, we just have to do proper notification and all of that stuff. So, okay, so I have a motion to defer this to the next meeting.
I don't know that I wanna second that.
Okay, well, we can have more discussion.
You have a very interesting conundrum tonight.
That motion will die without a second.
Thank you. You need 3 votes for anything. You're a 4-member board, 2 votes are not enough.
Well, we have the Girl Scouts who are waiting to do a garden project with us as well. Although they already have an idea of the design, so I guess that would be potentially separate. Although they were going to, if we went with a landscape architect, they were going to incorporate where that could go in the scheme of things.
That's the butterfly, correct?
Yes.
I guess my thought on this is we're looking at 3 quotes that are within 1,000, 2 at 6,000 ballpark, 1 at 5, and then the miscellaneous at 1,800, which we don't necessarily know what that final product looks like. I would say that the 3 prices being so close together, it's probably a reasonable and fair price. I would still lean more towards JMA or Burke as established relationships, and it would be, I think that we either have to have a motion to do this and with who, or we're deferring it, or we're just gonna go back and forth up here. I understand it's a lot of money, but professional services cost money, and we're trying to be professional, and we're trying to change the ways of just doing whatever, you know. I feel that professional services come at a professional price. We're trying to beautify the town, we're trying to make it look right, we're trying not to halfway anything, and that comes at a cost. Now, that being said, to Greg's point, if we do these 3 designs and these prices come out with vegetation and other items, absurd amounts of money, then maybe that's where we look at scaling it back 1 park at a time, or whatever. But I don't think we're gonna be able to have a concept and a total cost until we know what that design looks like. And I think that if we're gonna move forward with this, we need to move forward with this with a firm that's gonna provide us a concept, so we can take it to the next step. And I think this is no different than where we're at with the pavilions and all that other stuff, that we have to have a design to look at to know what materials we need and what cost. So,
So Greg, you seem fond of Redwood, but they also did have the design fee, so what
Right.
would you think is fair? If
Well,
you're
I'm
working with
not,
the
I'm not
research
fond
team?
of them. I just think that any one of them at this price, it leaves too many questions in the future of what they're gonna do and what it's gonna actually cost in the future. I mean, in my perfect world, somebody would come out there and say, this should be here, this drainage has to be here, and just point it out and say, okay, that's it. But that's not the way it is. Obviously, it's $6,000 before you put a plant in the ground. That's my problem with it.
what would be your alternative?
Well, you would have to go back to this other guy right here and talk to this Brian Ingerman and say, what are you exactly doing? Like I say, they didn't have that much time to do this, you know? They were kind of like rushed in at the last minute. So, I mean, what is he gonna design and how is he gonna design it? I mean, what's he gonna, I don't know, you know? Sarah, do you know what he's gonna do exactly? This Brian guy?
Well, that was my whole issue. I didn't get any kind of
Yeah, but how long did you,
detailed.
we only talked to him for like less than 2 weeks. You know, since the first day I called him till, you know, till he got a hold of you.
I would've had a better idea if I did a site walk with him.
Yeah.
I mean, the other architects, they submitted a proposal with short notice as well, and all I've done is, I did a walk
Okay.
with JMA.
Yeah, I thought you started this like a month ago, and I just talked to these guys recently. I mean, I don't know when the proposals came in, or when Chris first got a hold of the first two, but these other guys were in. Anyways, okay, I rest my case. I don't know how to do it.
Would either one of your guys do one park for $2,000? I mean, and then you at least know what you're getting.
Now, there's a thought. That I would go for.
At least you know what you're getting, you got something, you're like, hey, we like where this is going, we can afford to do it.
Okay, I
mean,
like that.
If it takes away your spending $6,000 and you can't afford anything.
Well, then we'll have an idea what we got going on.
You've got one redwood that has Park of the Red, if we're gonna do one first, I'd say we have to do it here because the goose mitigation is the main purpose of, the main driver of this project, and this is where it's most critical. Redwood has that on theirs for $2,500. I believe you probably still have TJ from Christopher Burke on, but that does put the other two at a disadvantage.
That's fine. I'm good with that. I mean, either one.
But you're good with what?
Any one of the three is fine. If we take it down to one park,
But they're not here to, well, at least two of them are not here to speak to what they can do with that. And I don't know that TJ
Right.
can speak to that, so again.
that would be awesome.
Well, again, that would bring me to, we can defer this, and we can have that discussion, if that's what the board's pleasure is. And we can negotiate that, or we have to take action on it.
Hey guys, this is TJ with Burke. Yeah, I have the luxury of speaking on behalf of Burke since I'm present. But I would be comfortable with saying that, we would definitely work with you guys, and if it would be more comfortable for you to do, it in chunks, so you kind of have an idea of what a rendering looks like, you know, with all those, fine details of seeing how things are, displayed and, you know, different options to pick from, kind of going through that process. With us on that, we would definitely be willing to do that. We work with you guys on all of our projects and try to fine tune them how we can to help you out, so, definitely be willing to do that.
How long do you think it would take for you to get us, the drawings for the Lake of the Red Cedars Park?
I would venture to say, as far as scheduling goes, I'd have to check with that. But, just based upon, plus or minus 80 hours for the 3 sites, so it'd be roughly about, 25 hours or so, give or take, for each site, you divide it up. Maybe maybe one of the sites would take a little bit more than the other if it was larger. But I can get back to you guys on that with an exact, but.
Okay.
Yeah, and then, you know, after that, we could possibly just, if everything comes out nice, we could just move on to the other 2 parks right after that. I mean, if we find out it's not that extremely expensive to build out what they draw out.
Well,
I
regardless,
do agree with whatever company you go with, you're definitely gonna want, renderings, just because I think it's much easier for a group to decide on things when you can visually see it, and you can kind of take that out there and you can look at it in person and have a really good idea of what you're gonna get.
so regardless of expenditure, we would have a vision that we would have to keep and ponder on for future.
Okay. So now where we at, Dale?
So we're at the point where we're going to either defer this for further discussion, or we're gonna have a motion to do something.
And that'll be to do all of it?
Well, I would say that in fairness to the companies that aren't represented, we would have to ask them and see what their fee would be, because who knows, maybe they charge more if they're only doing one, who knows, maybe they equally split it, we don't know. So, I would say if we're not making a motion based off of the total proposal from whatever company board members so choose, we would have to defer this to ask further questions, to gather more details, to make a decision at the following meeting. So, I need a motion to approve as is, or a motion to defer to the next meeting for further research.
Those are rough decisions.
That's why you make the big bucks.
You know, I don't wanna defer it, but, you know, I want more information first.
Well, unfortunately, this is the pass that we're at.
Yeah.
We're either fording the river or we're floating it.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to just go ahead and get the drawings. And then at that point, we can make a decision on what we're actually going to do and what we're not going to do.
Can you make a motion for which company?
Okay, so let me back up a couple pages here.
Thanks for coming, sir.
More than welcome. Nice to meet you all. Hope
Meet you in the future, sir.
Is that your coat?
Yes, it is, thank you.
We don't have a lost and found, so I don't have to worry about it.
Okay, so I'll make a motion for JMA to do the drawings at
$6,000.
no more than $6,000, unless they let us know, right?
Well, we can't spend more without permission. so-
That's right. Okay, good.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table for $6,000 to JMA to move forward with this project.
I will second that motion.
We have a second. Hope?
Okay. Mr. Markfort,
Yes,
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Holsby.
Yes.
I just don't wanna wait.
Okay, well, we took care of that.
I know.
Alright. Item number 3, authorization to purchase a snowplow for Parks truck in amount not to exceed $10,000. Mr. Kubiak, is this plow and hitch, or Apache doohickey?
This is the installation of the equipment to operate the plow on the truck and the plow itself. And this is a Boss V plow, the same plows that we have on the Public Works truck, which is compatible with, pretty much the best plow for the money that we buy for everything else. It has a municipal discount, and it's kinda is what it is.
I'm gonna ask you, because we do have 2 trucks on order, right? One delivered and one coming.
Correct.
Is there any incentive to equip both of them now from a cost aspect, or is it gonna be the same
The
price?
same price, we've already bought in 3, and they were all the same, their same exact price. They give that municipal price through, it is, that's the cost. So there's no, if you buy 1 or 10, we're getting the best price we can get, so.
Because again, part of what we envision the staff's responsibility is that they're responsible for plowing the parks and so on and so forth.
Right.
The parking lots, and then assisting the street department where needed if possible.
Yes, if you wanted to approve the second plow for the second truck, it's the same amount, but, I actually did get a quote on the Poly V plow is the one that we've been getting. It's, just got plastic grill instead of all metal. The metal plow was, slightly, he had one there that was slightly cheaper. I think it was 91, it was like $300 less. but that was pretty much the option, so.
So I guess my thought is we're at the tail end of snow season, hopefully. And the risk we take by not just getting both of them at the same time is that prices go up at the end of the year when we decide we want them.
They've definitely gone up, probably, they went up like $2,000 from last year to this year, so I would buy them for both trucks. I would recommend doing it now.
That's kind of where my heart's at, because if the price goes up, then we look stupid for not doing it. And it's our intent to equip those trucks with those said plows and equipment to be able to perform those duties come winter time. It obviously takes a burden off of, Public Works if we're helping as a team. So what is the board's pleasure?
I make a motion to buy 2 plows, one for each of our new trucks.
Okay,
Not to exceed 20,000?
Not to exceed 20,000, correct.
and that would be out of what fund?
So we're gonna use your general fund.
Okay,
Capital or equipment purchase, capital equipment line item.
okay,
I don't do general fund.
okay. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a second. Hope?
Okay, Mr. Markort,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Holsby.
Yes. Okay, reports, item 1, clerk treasurer.
You did have
You
an item.
had
Oh, I did have an item, I didn't write it on my paper, item number 4, background checks. Okay, so, we are, we learned that the background checks are BMV only, and we would like to take that to the next level for anything Parks and Recreation related, that it will be BMV and criminal. That's the responsible thing. This was discussed this evening, we don't have a dollar amount. To me, the safety of our community and our children is very important, and ultimately what I would be looking for is a motion. We don't have a dollar amount. I don't know that there's a dollar amount when it comes to our children's safety that you wouldn't want to spend, and I don't expect it to be entirely ridiculous. So I would ultimately like to have a motion to approve the clerk treasurer's office to find us the appropriate firm to make sure that we're doing our BMV and criminal background checks, and we can ratify the amount at a future meeting.
I'll give that motion.
I'll second that motion.
And is there any discussion?
No.
Mr. Austin, anything on your end?
No,
Okay,
good.
okay. Hope?
Okay, Mr. Markort,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Holsby.
Yes. Okay, now we have report number 1, clerk treasurer, Jen.
So you have already seen your docket report, and also included tonight, I gave you a cash summary by fund, for each of your funds, and I also gave you the expenditure report for your general fund levy. So your expenditure report for your general fund levy shows you, again, what your original budget was, year-to-date activity for the current month, but we're only 2 days into the current month. So that's pretty minimal, but we did just do a payroll, so that's why you see some in your personnel line items, and then it gives you your unencumbered balance, what remains in those levy funds.
Okay. Any questions for Jennifer from the board? Okay, hearing none, seeing none. Item number 2, Hope, your report, please.
Okay. We had a composting class back for Purdue Extension on February 3rd. The attendance was great. There were about 25 people. STEM Club was the following Monday, and there were only 3 kids that showed up. The senior social was on the 8th, and we had Drew Bosick from People's Bank there to talk about reverse mortgages. There were about 30 in attendance. The beekeeping class was on February 10th. Great information, and the speaker from Earthling Bee Company was very entertaining. About 25 people came. Bingo was held the following Monday with a great success. About 25 people were there. Kids art class was on Valentine's Day, and we had 13 kids. Adult paint class was on the 23rd, and we had 12 adults signed up. Soccer registration was the 17th and the 18th, and I allowed late registrations the entire week after that. We have 143 kids signed up for soccer. There are 3 age brackets, 58, 8 to 11-year-olds, 36, 6 to 7-year-olds, and 49, 4 to 5-year-olds on 5 different teams. There are 14 teams. We have now, my paper says 17, but now it's 18 coaches. That includes some people are assistant coaches. I've separated all the players into their teams and then emailed the coaches with their rosters. I'm working on game schedule, and we'll have that finished by the end of next week. I'm hoping to have coaches meeting mid-March. In March, we have STEM Club on Monday the 6th, a senior social on the 8th, and we will have Diane Justice from the Chamber of Commerce there. Bingo on the 20th, adult paint class on the 23rd. Clean the Parks Day is Sunday, March 26th. Gardening is Monday the 27th, and kids art class is on the 28th. The Easter egg hunt is on Saturday, April 1st. We'll start with taking pictures with the Easter Bunny at 11:15 until 12. At 12 o'clock, we'll start the hunt. The fee for the Easter egg hunt is $5, and this includes a photo with the Easter Bunny. Kids need to bring their own bags to collect their eggs. 1 golden egg will be hidden for each age group for a prize. The flyers have been approved at Hanover School. I'll get the approval for Crown Point schools and get those printed out by Tuesday of next week. The Key Club kids have offered to help hide the eggs with me, which I greatly appreciate. The April STEM Club is on the 3rd, and that is all the programs that we have until the next park board meeting on April 6th. I've been training with the Rec Desk, the online registration program, and that will be a huge help and convenience for the people who want to sign up and pay their fees for their classes and events when they are able to do so. That is scheduled to go live the first full week of April after the Easter egg hunt.
Okay, to piggyback on that, and if there's any steps we need to take with this, someone just let me know. I was cornered by one of our seniors in Strax over the weekend, and I was advised that we are not doing enough for the senior community yet, and that once a month is not enough, and that we should be doing more. So I tried to take the context of that and process that a little bit, and I'm kind of toying around with an idea that Hope is one individual. We have been soliciting volunteers, and we have a few. But the idea I'm tossing around is that we try to come up with a senior activity committee, and I was going to propose this at the next senior social, and ask them to put a little skin in the game in the sense of if they think there's things they would like to see us do, to let us know, and maybe if they're willing to step up and be the lead in the event Hope can't attend or whatever, you know, we can provide the instructor, the, you know, funding for supplies, whatever, but, you know, I had a former fire chief that once told me if you're going to come to me with an idea, you need to come to me with a solution. I wasn't provided a solution, so that's the solution I'm coming up with in my head in the effort of delivering more people's requests. So I don't know where we stand with that, you know, legally. Is it just a background check? They fill out a volunteer application, and if senior citizen wants to host a knitting class, we would then find said knitting instructor and they could facilitate that event. Does that sound about right?
That's exactly what you need to do.
Hot damn. All right, so I'm going to propose that at the senior social, and I'm going to see who would be willing to step up. We'll speak to our existing volunteers and see if they're willing to help out with stuff like that. As we said when we took over, we realized that there's more to this community than senior events and just youth events. There's a hybrid here. So I also explained to that individual that we just got a budget and we're trying to get some staff and to have some patience with us. So that's just something that I wanted to pass along to piggyback Hope. Hope is one individual running many different directions with what resources she has. So if people want more, we hear you, but at this time, we need some assistance. So if you got an idea, be a volunteer, step up, we'll work with you. So, that's all I had there. So Hope, you're doing great. I tell you that all the time. Keep it up. You know, as I told you on the phone when I talked to you about that, that comment's not directed that you're not doing enough. It's that people are anxious to do things with us because we're that fun and cool, and we're just trying to find the resources to achieve said goals. So, anything else from you, Hope?
No, that's it.
Okay, written communication, I had a verbal communication, that we need to, I was confronted by a parent, that Robin's Nest Park needs additional swings. So I told them that we're doing comprehensive master planning and all that other stuff, and that we'll take that into consideration. Otherwise, I have nothing in writing. Public comment. Anything for public comment? Going once, twice. Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I got a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn.
I will second that.
This meeting is adjourned.